Yamunatira vanachari, Yamunatira vanachari, Yamunatira vanachari, Yamunatira vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Ramadava Kunja Bihari, Kunja Bihari, Kunja Bihari, Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari, Vijana Vallabha Girivaradari, Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari, Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari, Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana, Nandana Braja Jana, Yamunatira vanachari, Yamunatira vanachari, Yamunatira vanachari, Yamunatira vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Jaya Radha Madhava Shri Radhe, Radha Shri Radhe. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Shikantai Mai Busashi ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi, Haribo. Hare Krishna, reading from the nectar of devotion, and this is still chapter ecstatic love, and this natural attraction for Krishna on the part of Prahlad was developed simply by the mercy of Narad. When Prahlad Maharaj was within the womb of his mother, she was being sympathetically instructed by Narad about the science of devotional service. And at the same time, Narada was wishing that the child within the womb could also take advantage of the instructions. Because Narada, an authorized devotee, because Narada, an outraged devotee and great associate of person in Godhead, was desiring auspiciousness of Prahlad Maharaj. He developed all the characteristics of a high grade devotee. This is called natural attraction. It is caused by the special grace of the personality of Godhead, or by the special grace of a great devotee like Narada. There is a statement in the Skanda Purana wherein Parvata Muni tells Narada, "My dear Narada, of all saintly persons, you are so great and glorious that simply by your good wishes, a low-born hunter also has become a great, elevated devotee of Lord Krishna." This ecstatic love for Krishna can be divided into 5 divisions, which will be described by Sri Rupa Goswami later on. Next, our devotion key. Sri Rupa Goswami key. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th Canto, Chapter 13, titled The Behavior of a Perfect Person. Today we're reading text 24. Trishnaya Bhava Vahinya Trishna Bhava Vahinya Yogyai Kamair Apuryaya Yogyaya Kamair Apuryaya Karmani Karyamano Ham Karmani Karyamanoha Ham Nana Yonishu Yojita Nana Yonishu Yojita Trinaya Bhava Vahinya Yogyai Kamai Apuryaya Karmani Karmamanoham Nanayonishu Yojita Trishnaya Bhava Vahinya Yogyai Kamai Apuryaya Karmani Karyamanoham Nanayonishu Yojitaha Trishnaya Bhava Vahinya Yogyai Kamai Apuryaya Karmani Karyamanoham Nanayonishu Yojita. Please. Krishnaya Bhava Vahinya Yogai Kamaya Karmani Karyamanoham Nanayonishu Yojitaha Krishnaya Bhava Vahinya Yogai Kamaya Karmani Karyamanoham Nanayonishu Yojitaha Krishnaya Bhava Vahinya Trishnaya, because of material desires. Bhava Vahinya, under the sway of the immaterial laws of nature. Yogyahi, as it is befitting. Kamai, by material desires. Uparyaya, without end of without end one after another. Karmani, activities. Karyamanaha, constantly being compelled to perform. Aham, I. Nana yonishu, in various forms of life. Yojitaha, engage in the struggle of existence. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Sri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Because of insatiable material desires, I was being carried away by the waves of material nature's laws. And thus I was engaging in different activities, struggling for existence in various forms of life. Purport. As long as the living entity wants to fulfill various types of material desire, he must continuously change from one body to accept another. Sri Vaishnava Chakravarti Thakur explains that as a small piece of grass falls in a river and is tossed about with different types of wood and tree branches, the living entity floats in the ocean of material existence and is dashed and tossed amidst material conditions. This is called struggle for existence. One kind of fruitive activity causes the living being to take one form or body, and because of actions performed in that body, another body is created. One must therefore stop the material activities, and the chance to do so is given in the human form of life. Specifically, all energy to act should be engaged in the service of the Lord, for the materialistic activities will automatically stop. One must fulfill one's desire by surrendering unto the Supreme Lord, for He knows how to fulfill them. Even though one may have material desires, one should therefore engage in a devotional service of the Lord. That will purify one's struggle of his existence. Akmana sarva kamo va moksha kama udardihi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. A person who has broadened intelligence, whether he be full of a material desire, without any material desire, or desiring liberation, must by all means worship the Supreme Whole, the pure personality of Godhead. Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd canto, 3rd chapter, 10 verse. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam anukulena krishnano shiranam bhakti uttama. One should render transcendental loving service to the Supreme Lord Krishna favorably and without desire for material profit or gain through fruitive activities or philosophical speculation. This is called pure devotional service. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshuruminitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapidani Bhutale Swayam Rupam Kadamayam Datti Swam Padandikam Vanchakalpatrubhashta Kripa Sindhu Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Garadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavani Pashtatate Shatarine. Hare Krishna. I'm happy to be here again on the Vyasa-san. By the blessings of devotees, have given a chance to speak, and I prayed for the blessings. I pray for so I can actually, I can share something. And I pray I always remain a student. So I can always am capable of receiving more, more of this knowledge, and increasing my interest and my absorption in Krishna consciousness. So thank you. So Prahlad Maharaj has finished asking questions to Brahmana, who was lying on the ground like a python. So interesting enough is like that when Prahlad Maharaj was asking these questions about the way he was behaving, he kind of already knew, because we can see in few previous verses, Brahman is saying that Prahlad Maharaj is very exalted personality, and there's no real point of asking him. But because of like this ethic, he's asking these questions, and in a similar way, in our own lives as well. And a lot of people might be asking questions, or why are you waking up at 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. in the morning? Why are you spending so much time? 2 hours of chanting. It's waste of time. Why are you doing this? And then so we can maybe in your lives also there have been some people being asking these questions, why are you kind of like going against whatever society is going in, right? So maybe I can ask a question. So how do you respond to this? When people asking, why are you doing this? This is a waste of time. Just come join us in a pub, or join us. Get a real job. Like sometimes on the streets, people say that. And so how do you usually respond to that?
We say that we are Hare Krishnas, and we don't do that.
Yeah.
And also we say that we're aware of how karma works, the law of karma, and we understand that there are certain activities which, if you engage in them, then they'll bring a bad result. We're able to through the eyes of Shastra, we're able to see the results and the conclusions of these activities. And they're living their lives on the basis that this is the only life and there's nothing after this. So they're taking a big risk that is the case. And for us, we're saying we'd rather not take that risk. We'd rather live our lives that there is going to be something after this, and therefore we want to be careful how we behave.
Yeah, that's very good. And we can see similarly this Brahmana also is answering questions of. He's saying that because of his material desires, he was being carried away by the waves of material nature. So by the time, by the all the three moods of nature, and he was engaged in different activities, went from one body to other body, simply just suffering or enjoying his results. So because most of the people don't know about these things, they're saying that I understand there's only just one life, right? So they usually say you only live once, right? So you either go fully on enjoying your senses as you can, or there's also other extreme of people that's saying everything's all about it's all gonna die, it's all about suffering. So very negative kind of attitude. But neither of them have sort of like an understanding about what is the purpose of human life. That there's actually these these things as karma and reincarnation. That not for reason, not for not in accident. It's not an accident that things happen with people, and especially like when people are asking why bad things happen with good people, right? So there's explanation that there might be something in the previous life that they did, or in the same way, if you take something out of a context, we maybe see. I was listening to a class yesterday, and it was this example about, there's this, if there's an old lady walking home during the night, and she's been attacked by the thieves. All right, so so the question is kind of like, why God didn't just kind of like intervene, why God didn't help out this lady, but the question isn't like, we don't really know who she was, right? So maybe she has some sort of background that maybe she's also kind of like sort of like what a bad personality, or maybe something in the previous life happened that we really don't know about. So and this kind of brings to the point that we don't know, but Krishna does know. Krishna, he's in everyone's heart, and he also remembers each of our previous lives. And in the same way, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says to Arjuna as well, like that you cannot remember your previous life, but I can remember all your previous lives. So 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 the question is we suffer or we enjoy in this life, in this material world, because we have this desire, right? We have this desire to enjoy through the senses, and the topmost sense is the mind, right? So we have 6 senses together, and so that the controller, the one who enjoys more is the through different senses, through other senses, is the mind, right? So in order to actually get out of this cycle of repeated birth and death, we should start considering actually trying to control the mind, right? So in Bhagavad Gita, it is said in chapter 6, Badu atmatmanastasya yanama vaitmana jittaha anatmanastu shatrutve vartet maiva shatruvat. So for him who has conquered the mind is the best friend, but one who hasn't conquered the mind, he remains the greatest enemy. So we can see that if we just kind of like mindlessly going about life, and just kind of like trying to satisfy whatever the mind is opposing, then naturally, because we trying to kind of serve the mind or serve the sense, it naturally is going to bring us to the to the suffering, right? And to the mind control, which also is described in Bhagavad Gita, is harder than to control the wind. We can actually get out of this duality of enjoyment and suffering. So and Prabhupada very nicely says it's like that we change. So because of some sort of action that we perform in this life, we get another body in the next life, and then it kind of keeps going on like that. In the next body, we also perform an action that is going to be the next body, and it goes on and on, right? So most of the people don't have this understanding that actually it really matters what we do, what is your action, because it's going to determine where we're going to go next. And that's why maybe sometimes people may ask, why are you wasting your time, in temple? You're still young, you have a whole life ahead of you, go enjoy, go, and So, but the Prabhupada says very nicely that one must therefore stop the material activities, because the meaning of the human form is actually to get out of these material activities. So in order to get out of that, so the easiest and most effective way is to perform bhakti yoga, right? So as further on, the Prabhupada describes, so one should engage his or her energy into service of the Lord, so in order to actually stop these material activities, to to become this platform of steadiness rather than always changing happiness and distress. All right. So it's an important point to mention also, that it's not that we have to stop activity entirely, but we just have to change its quality. Right? We just have to change it from material activity. We try to do all these things in a devotional service for the Supreme Person, the Godhead, right? And it essentially says that it will purify one's struggle for existence, right? So it might seem that, like, two people from outside seem the same. So one is performing devotional service, one is just karmi, is going to work, earning money. Although two people might be doing the same thing, but actually, they have a different mindset, different focus, and that's what Prabhupada says, that it can purify one's struggle of existence. They're both doing the same thing, but actually, each of them doing for a different reason, and one is more blissful, one is just suffering or enjoying its fruits. Because Krishna also says in the chapter 2, text 47. He says, Karmani evadikaraste ma paleshu kadachana ma karma pala neturbu mate sango sat akarmani. What he says, you have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself the cause of the result of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty. So we can see this, like, this attachment, this mentality to we are the doers, really brings you to the position that we either enjoy or suffer from our activities. But Bhakti Yoga offers this opportunity to perform this devotional service, so that we are still entitled to do our duty, but all the results goes to Krishna, right? So in this process, we can actually that our existence is purified. And interesting also, Prabhupada mentions that, so he quotes 2 verses in Bhagavad Gita and Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and he says that actually Bhakti Yoga is meant for everyone, either one who is who has material desires, who's maybe like a karmi who's performing things in order to get a result back, or for one who doesn't have material desires, or one who is designed for liberation. So this process is meant for everyone, and so the worship of the Supreme Person of Godhead will naturally bring everyone to the position of devotional service, and that's like the ultimate goal. Maybe I can ask any questions or comments. Maybe I said something wrong. Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Just talking about using bhakti to control the mind, I'm just wondering if there's any particular limb of bhakti that's very good for controlling the mind. We have these 9 different things Prahlad Maharaj mentioned in one of the previous chapters. Any thoughts?
Well, of of these 9 devotional nine. Yeah, yeah. So everything starts by hearing, right? So in this age, we kind of like everyone wants to see the God, but actually, in order to experience God these days, in this age is through the ears, through hearing, right? So hearing is the most effective way. That's why we go, we do Harinams, right? That's what we sing, right? That's why Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is his program was also, for most of the public was, kirtan and prasadam, right? So maybe so very simple, right? So because then, in order to go in more philosophical discussions, you need some qualification to understand and to appreciate it. So everything kind of starts from hearing, and yeah. So, from my experience, like my pattern and Krishna consciousness added to the belly, right? So, you know, it's no. It's fact. It's a proof that by simply just taking prasadam, you can make some progress, right? So all these last 5 years, since I met devotees, I've been eating, taking good amounts of prasadam, well, if any progress I made, definitely I can tell I moved somewhere at least. So yeah, so. Yeah, something like that. So yeah, So going back to controlling the mind. So it is also said that so if we control the tongue, we can actually control the other senses. Right. So the tongue represents either what we eat and what we speak. Right. So if we just constantly talk about do Krishna Kat, right? Talk about read Srimad Bhagavatam, and associate with devotees, eat food that is offered to Krishna, right? Naturally, everything's gonna go on a line and get more purified. Yeah. If that's okay.
Hare Krishna. So, if I'm understanding right, the more we chant, the more we control our mind.
Yeah, chanting definitely is going to purify our mind. Shri Shri Kanta Mai Purusha Shri Ki. Yeah, chanting will definitely purify us. But then at the same time, we also have to read. Right? We have to get that whatever we cleansing our mind. Whatever we're taking out, we got to put some good things as reading Srimad Bhagavatam, reading Bhagavad Gita, talk about topics about Krishna. So yeah.
We're studying Shuddha Bhakti Chintamani just now, and it becomes apparent what a great treasure that ISKCON. We were discussing yesterday about pure devotional service can't be found in Vaikuntha. They have a level of pure devotional service, but it's not as pure as the devotional service in Braj. Braj Bhakti is the highest because of all the different qualities of sweetness that Krishna can display there, which is not there in the other realms. And so as we're studying it, we're becoming more aware of how special it is, Srila Prabhupada's society. So we have people that are coming along and they're showing some interest in chanting, but they're not particularly interested in ISKCON. They think they can do the chanting anyway, So how do we convey the exclusivity and the superiority of ISKCON without maybe creating an adverse effect.
Yeah, thank you. Good question. Yeah, we can see there's a different like artists are kind of like just just performing a kirtan, just just for the fame and earning money, right? So maybe they don't really have much of understanding what is the potency of a holy name, and yeah, because as we're running our own programs as well, we're doing kirtan programs. It's kind of essential to actually introduce some philosophy, to understand what it is, this holy name, and gonna give more explanation. But then at the same time we have to be careful, because due to the ninth offense, we shouldn't preach about glories of the holy name to the ones who don't believe. But naturally, as we chant, we develop this interest. We purify ourselves, and we naturally develop this interest. We kind of qualify ourselves for for actually receiving some information about what it is exactly, right? And I think it's like for ones who maybe as we organizing these programs, I think it's maybe our responsibility to kind of like understand how can we introduce these things, because surely it can go like different ways. You can go different ways, because people can take it, mantra meditation as a means of getting rid of stress, which is true, which is how we also introduce it on the street. But then that's why we give a book, to have some sort of like thing to reference back, right? And most of the books are a reference of Bhagavad Gita, so if they find it interesting, they if they want to find more, they know where to look at. And yeah. So, and then understanding like, so because so the the spiritual journey start with what's going to be benefit for me. We always looking for these things, kind of like, if this is not gonna give me any pleasure or benefit, and what's the point of doing it, right? So and from my own experience, I also remember that, like, I had this inquisitiveness, about what is the absolute truth, and you're kind of like, I want to know about it, right? So I want to gain more knowledge about these things, but then as you go along, you understand actually it's more about devotion service and Krishna consciousness, about actually pleasing Krishna, and not waiting anything back, and it's difficult. It's difficult these days, even for myself. I've been practicing for some time. It's there's always that tinge of selfishness, and is this gonna make me happy? But so it's a natural process. It's a gradual process, through chanting and to reading more. We can get to that stage, right? So, but yeah, so whoever we bring into our community or to the programs, we should also have a responsibility to lead them in a correct way. But because we can see there's so many other practitioners and other groups of spiritual groups, and it can seem like the same thing from the outside, they're just all performing kirtan, right? They're also singing the glories of the the glories of the Lord. But yeah, it's not really the same. It's you have to really bring that in, that philosophy, to understand who is actually bona fide and who is not, and yeah, something like that. I hope that's good. Any other questions or comments?
Fine. I just maybe something we can think about, because if we have this highest thing, like ISKCON's got this, it's coming from the Parampara, from Lord Brahma, and it's all bona fide. I'm not sure we can see that everyone's going to come to it straight away, or how much of our responsibility it is to actually, make sure everyone goes there. We have this saying about the diamond shop, and the real diamonds, not many people buy it, and then the cheap diamonds, a lot of people go there. So if we're given this really high thing, we can't expect so many people to come. And also people they just want the externals. How much are we going to be able to guide them to go into something that's more internal? Just a thought. Anyone wants to add something?
Somebody was saying to me the other day that they've tried to be Krishna conscious, and they've come to the temple and they've done some service, and they don't really feel they've got what it takes. And they said, I think it's going to be too much in this lifetime to push forward, in Krishna consciousness. So they've come in, they've lived in the ashram for a little while, they've seen how hard the devotees work, how committed they are, and then they've realized that they're not sincere enough. And so they've taken a step back, and they've stopped chanting, and may have still a little interest, but they've recoiled from it right now. Maybe initially they took up because they were suffering a lot, and then the Krishna consciousness relieved them of their suffering. Then they've decided they don't want to continue on to that intensity. So, what do we do with someone like that? Do we accept that that's it? That we shouldn't, therefore we shouldn't push them? We should just, they've realized that that's as far as they can go in this lifetime.
Yeah, it's we were listening to the Prabhupada's lecture yesterday that there's really no loss if someone from maybe out of sentiment or some maybe material desire surrendered to Krishna, kind of took up this process for some time. So there's no really loss. Whereas someone who simply did this ritualistic practice for just some not really performing devotional service, but just like performing different rituals, he's actually worse than one who actually just even for the sentiment just surrendered to Krishna, right? And then fall down. So Krishna says that also in Bhagavad Gita there's no loss, and at the same time there's always some plan going on for Krishna, right, for everyone. And so next time you might just take it again. So you might be born in a rich family or very Krishna conscious family. So, and the thing is that it's like Prabhupada was mentioning this nice example of that in India when you study medicine, if you pass this exam, you get this doctor in medicine degree, like a title. But if you don't pass, you get the license to study more about medicine, right? So in the same way, if we don't make it, right, we can still in the next time Krishna gives a chance to worship Krishna again. So even in whatever circumstance he's putting us in. So yeah, most of the time we don't it's not, I guess, much what we can do is just kind of like getting absorbed more by ourselves and giving the best example that we can, and then because for myself as well, and when I one of the reasons I joined Hare Krishna is because I felt there was this nice, I see people were happy, they had this family feeling, back in Latvia we had nice Namahatas, and so everyone was like, very active, very happy, and I remember one of the first times, I remember there was a kirtan, there was class, and then after, and there was prasadam, and then after prasadam, so one of the main Prabhus, he was reading the program. He said there's different services, and everyone just run quickly and washing the floor, washing the pots, and I was amazed, just what's going on, everyone's just very actively going for it. And yeah, so just like that example, I think if you can show a good example, and then as I said, we leave a result for Krishna to decide, and maybe maybe for someone it's not maybe not meant for this in this life, but we should do whatever we can to encourage the person. But if it's not meant to be, then maybe next life, yeah. Please, yeah. It's, is that on the other side?
Yeah, I was thinking there was one of the Prabhupada memories. There was a devotee, and he asked Prabhupada what he should do. I think Prabhupada said he should just do paintings of Krishna. And but he wasn't happy. He didn't feel that he was really doing his bit, And he felt like he needed to go to Russia and risk his life. And then he was speaking to Prabhupada again. And Prabhupada said, "Well, what do you want to do?" And he said, "I think I should go and open a center in Russia." And Prabhupada left. He said, "No, I want you just to be an artist," because Prabhupada recognized what his potential was, what his limits were, and he just engaged him accordingly. And Chaitanya Charan really struck me what he was saying in the Gita, that Krishna is saying, if you just hear this conversation, then that's enough. If that's all you can do. If you can study it, then that's better. And if you can actually go and preach it, then that's even better. So when people come along, they may think that they can do more than they can do, and then they realize, oh, actually, I can only do this much. But rather than all or nothing, they should think, well, that's the best that I can do. So Krishna will accept that. And therefore, I'm just as eligible as anybody else to go back to Godhead. I just have to find my place and do my bit. And it's compared to when Krishna's offered a garland, he doesn't look at all the little flowers and pull them off and say, I only want the big flowers on the garland. He just accepts the whole garland. So ISKCON is like an offering of a garland to Krishna. And in that garland, there are small devotees and there are big devotees. But they all play their part in forming the garland, So I wasn't able to convey that at the time, and I had to think about it. But if I get a chance again, then I would encourage them that if that's the best thing you can do, then Krishna's happy with that, And if it's not, then obviously do more, and then you will be satisfied. Do whatever it is you can do. It's like they say, don't let what you can't do stop what you can do. And if you keep doing what you can do, eventually you'll be able to do what you can't do.
Yeah. Thank you, Ru. Yeah, it's after a few months of being in ashram, also I experienced this. There's some sort of intensity, but I can understand that. I start to understand like maybe what I'm good at more, and maybe because initially I feel like I start to recognize that maybe initially I was running for some sort of away for some problems. I was maybe looking for liberation from material, suffering, material activities. So I can start to notice that actually that's coming up, and and yeah. So, and I think it was yesterday. Maybe from the lecture I heard as also Prabhupada saying that maybe a ticket to Krishna for someone maybe costs less than from someone else, right? But it's like it's still the same endeavor, kind of like what they perform is like, as you say, it's they're giving all what they can do, but it's like we don't have to pay for maybe someone has to pay more, right? So we have to understand like what is our limit, where we can be completely surrendered, right, to the process. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, there's a funny story around the man, and he's laughing with a little spider, flicking in dust to make up the bridge. Lord Ram says, well, his service is just as valuable as yours, and one was throwing in big boulders, but the spider was doing the best that he could do. And Krishna says, in this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution. He's looking for the endeavor. So for someone to go out and do one book is like a huge endeavor. And for someone to go and do 100 books is easy because they just have charisma and charm, and it's easy for them to do it, you know. So it's not just the result. Krishna's looking also at the endeavor. And if the person's just trying the best that they can, then that's all Krishna wants. If that's hearing, if that's studying, if that's preaching, whatever they're capable of, you know.
We'll stop here. Kantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanandi Hari Bol.
His Grace Reinis Prabhu ki jai.
All of you ki jai.